It was the middle of October, and we had just finished lunch period. I was walking with my friend Ethan toward our English class, room 206, when he got called to the office for some paperwork, so I headed to class alone. When I got there, the room was completely empty. Apparently, our teacher was out sick, and we had a sub, but he hadn't arrived yet. A few students were still in the hall, so I went in, sat down, and just scrolled on my phone. A few minutes passed. Then, the intercom crackled. "Lockdown, lockdown. This is not a drill. Please initiate lockdown procedures immediately." My first instinct was that it was another practice drill. We'd had one just last week, but something felt different. There was urgency in the principal's voice that I'd never heard before. I got up, locked the classroom door, turned off the lights, and pulled the blackout curtain over the window. I texted Ethan right away. "Yo, lockdown just started. Where you at?" He replied within seconds. "Still in the office. They just locked it down. Something serious is going on." Now I was officially on edge. The classroom was still empty. No teacher, no students, just me. I crouched behind the teacher's desk, trying to stay out of sight. At first, everything was quiet, but after maybe 4 or 5 minutes, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Fast, heavy ones, like someone running. Then, they stopped, right outside the door. I could hear breathing, slow, loud breathing. Whoever it was, they were standing inches away on the other side of that door. I stayed absolutely still. I even turned off my phone. Then I heard something hit the door. A soft knock, just once, followed by a low voice. "I saw you go in there." I almost stopped breathing. The voice was cold, calm, not a student. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. Whoever it was stayed outside for maybe another minute before walking away, but I didn't dare get up. I stayed hidden for what felt like forever. Eventually, police entered the building and cleared it room by room. When they finally opened my classroom door, I almost collapsed from relief. Later, we were told someone had entered the school with a concealed weapon. No one was hurt, but he had been wandering the halls for several minutes before being spotted. The security cameras showed that he had tried to open multiple classroom doors, mine included. The worst part, he wasn't caught that day. Apparently, he slipped out during the evacuation when all the students were being moved outside. Even now, room 206 feels cursed. I avoid sitting near the door because every time I walk past it, I can still hear that voice in my head. "I saw you go in there." It happened during my sophomore year in high school. It was a regular Thursday. Nothing felt off at first. I remember walking out of my chemistry class and heading toward the cafeteria for lunch. I wasn't really hungry, so I decided to just walk around the empty wing near the gym. Most students never went that way. I ended up in the hallway that led to the janitor's supply closet. It was quiet. I pulled out my phone and leaned against the wall, scrolling aimlessly through random posts. That's when the loudspeaker crackled to life. "Attention all students and staff. This is a lockdown. This is not a drill." My heart dropped. I froze for a second, not knowing where to go. That wing was basically deserted, and all the classrooms nearby were locked. I checked. I didn't want to run across the school and risk being seen, so I did the only thing I could think of. I ducked inside the janitor's closet and quietly closed the door behind me. It was pitch black inside. The only sound was the faint hum of the overhead lights and my own breathing. I crouched down behind a row of cleaning supplies, trying not to make a sound. About 2 minutes passed, maybe less, and I heard footsteps. They weren't running. They were slow, deliberate, heavy boots on tile. Then the handle of the closet started to jiggle. My stomach flipped. I covered my mouth with my hand, praying that whoever it was would just walk away. They didn't. Instead, the door creaked open, just slightly. I could see a sliver of hallway light spill in, and then a silhouette. Tall, male. I couldn't see his face. He just stood there for a few seconds, scanning the dark room. I didn't dare move. Then, he whispered, "You can't hide forever." His voice was low, calm, too calm. I don't know if he saw me or if he was just messing with anyone who might be in there, but after that, he closed the door and walked away. I could hear his boots fading down the hall. I stayed in that closet for what felt like hours. Eventually, I got a text from my friend. "Cops are here. Everyone's being evacuated. You good?" When the lockdown was officially lifted, I was escorted out by a staff member. I was shaking. Later, I found out that a man, someone not affiliated with the school, had entered through a side door that didn't shut properly. He never made it into any classrooms, but he was wandering the halls for nearly 10 minutes before the police arrived. They never said who he was or what he wanted, but I'll never forget the way he whispered that sentence. "You can't hide forever." To this day, I avoid that wing of the school completely. It was the last period on a Friday. Everyone was already in weekend mode, including the teachers. We had a substitute in math class who didn't care much, so I asked to go to the nurse's office, pretending I had a stomach ache. Really, I just wanted to skip the quiz and take a nap in peace. The nurse wasn't in, which was perfect. I laid down on the cot, pulled the curtain, and closed my eyes. No noise, no stress, just silence. That silence was broken a few minutes later by nothing. No bell, no hallway noise, no chatter from classrooms, just this eerie, unnatural silence. Then the intercom clicked on, but no announcement came, just static. Then it cut off completely. I sat up, confused. Normally, if it was a drill, they'd announce it clearly, but this was off. I peeked out the door and saw no one in the hallway. Lights were on, but it felt wrong. Then the school's fire alarm light started flashing, but without the siren, just the red lights blinking in total silence. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I stepped back into the nurse's room and locked the door. I texted my friend Claire, "Dude, what's going on? Are we in lockdown?" She didn't answer. A minute later, I heard footsteps outside in the hallway. Not fast, slow, rhythmic. Then something stopped right outside the nurse's door. Knock, 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 3 times. Slow and heavy. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then, without warning, the doorknob started to turn. I backed up into the far corner of the room, hiding behind a cabinet. The door didn't open. It was locked, but the knob kept twisting again and again. Then silence. And then a voice. A girl's voice. It was faint, like it was being whispered through the crack in the door. "Miss Anderson, I need help. I'm bleeding." Miss Anderson was the nurse, but the voice didn't sound like a kid. It sounded wrong, too calm, too rehearsed. I didn't say a word. After about 10 seconds, the voice stopped. The lights stopped flashing, and just like that, the bell rang. The usual loud end-of-day bell. Kids suddenly flooded the hallway like nothing had happened. I opened the door slowly and stepped out, stunned. The principal was walking by and did a double take when he saw me. "Where have you been? We've been looking for you for over an hour." I told him everything, every weird detail, but he just looked confused. "There was no lockdown," he said. "No drills, no alarms, nothing." They checked the nurse's room cameras. The footage showed me walking in, and then nothing. No knocking, no voice. No one else ever came near that door. To this day, I don't understand what happened, but one thing I know for sure. Whatever was outside that door, it knew I was in there.